going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video. I'm Crystal, one half of For Love of the Mouse, and we are so excited that you are joining us today because we're going back to Disney World. I need only you in this crazy world. For many of you who have been following us for quite some time, you know that this is a very odd year, of course, for everybody, but we have not been to Disney World since March, and we are just itching to get back. Well, we are about ready to head out on a trip. In fact, by the time this video goes live, we will only be a couple of days out, and we could not be more excited. But we wanted to do a video about planning this trip because some things have really changed with Disney trip planning, and we want to talk about that with you. Also, be on the lookout because we're going to do a post-trip recap on this trip to kind of talk about what has changed, what was different for us, what we expected versus like what was the actuality of certain aspects of our trip, such as wait times or the ease of using the mobile app, which we've always used, but it's so much, we're relying on it so much more heavily now that we want to know kind of what the difference is, and just like some generalizations about what was different about this trip and what you could expect if you are planning a trip to Disney World anytime soon. In addition, we're also going to be doing a packing vlog because you guys know how much I love packing vlogs. So we're going to be doing a packing vlog for this trip, and we're going to highlight some things that we're packing that you might want to think about if you are planning a trip anytime soon as well. So let's get started. We are headed to Disney World for 7 days. Now we're going in October, which is typically a pretty warm month in Disney, but we go in October quite frequently, so we're pretty used to it and we know kind of what we need to pack, how we need to pack. But some things have changed in terms of packing for us. So typically we will pack 2 outfits a day. I know that might sound like a lot for some people, but we're from Colorado where we don't have any humidity, and I don't like to walk around all sweaty and gross. I would rather go back to the hotel, take a shower, freshen up a little bit. What we would typically do is go to probably another park or go to a dining reservation. Now with this trip, because theme park reservations are required and also because we are unable to park hop, it's going to be a little bit different. So there's a really good chance that we're going to be spending a lot more time off property at Disney Springs, maybe even going to some various parts around Orlando to kind of explore and get off Disney property, which is really unique for us because it's definitely not something that we typically do. Another different thing about this trip is that we are staying off property. So as you guys know, if you follow us, we typically stay on property because we love the conveniences that staying on property offers, especially using the minivans and all of the transportation options that are available. And we just love staying on property. We love the pamperedness of staying on property and the Disney Magical Experience. We just love it all, especially Magical Express. Now, because we're staying off property, we don't have Magical Express on this trip, but I do want to make sure that you are aware that if you are planning to go and staying on property, that Magical Express is working a little differently now. At least for the time being in the foreseeable future, if you are using Disney's Magical Express, you will have to get your own luggage. Now that's something that's very different from the typical Magical Express experience where they will send you the yellow tags, you put the tags on your luggage, and then once you check your bags in at your airport that you are leaving from, you won't see your bags again until you are at your resort. They're going to bring them right into your room, and it's so amazing, so magical, and we're really disappointed that it's not happening, but we wouldn't get to take advantage of it anyways. So if you are staying on property and using Magical Express, be sure that you know that you do have to get your own bags at MCO because that is a huge change that was made in the last couple of months. Another thing that is different about this trip is we're renting a car. Now we typically tell people don't rent a car, especially if you're staying on property or at one of the resorts that are kind of near property. There's no reason to rent a car because Disney has so many amazing transportation options. They make it so convenient for you. Many of the options are free to you if you're staying on property. Now we are staying at the Wyndham Bonnet Creek, which is technically on Disney property, and therefore we could have used the minivans, but they're not running. So the minivan service is currently not available to anyone, whether you're staying on property or off property. So we've decided to rent a car, especially because the park hours are so limited right now, and we can only go to one park per day, and that park might close at 6 o'clock. And so we don't want to just go back to our hotel and twiddle our thumbs for the rest of the night. So we are going to have a car so that we can do other great things. We can go to Disney Springs, we can hop over to Wilderness Lodge and have dinner, we can, do a bunch of things that we would typically maybe take a minivan for, but we're going to take our own vehicle because there's some resorts now that even if they are open, they're kind of difficult to get to. They've made it kind of difficult. So if you are wanting to go to Wilderness Lodge, it's not the easiest thing to get over there right now. And so we thought renting a car would be really convenient for us so that we can go over to Geyser Point if we felt the need to do that and take advantage of those gorgeous views and maybe get a bison burger. Another thing that has really changed about planning this trip is how we do Disney. So we, having gone to Disney multiple times a year for the last few years, we consider ourselves kind of Disney experts. Planning is really fun for me. We really enjoy making our fast passes and our dining reservations and planning out our days and where we're going to go at night and doing all of that. And so these restricted park hours and having a limited access to things has really changed how we're going to be able to do Disney this time. Now, we're not complaining because we are just happy to be going to Disney. So we're certainly not complaining about any of that, but it is different for us. So it's been really a challenge to make dining reservations as so many dining experiences are currently closed. And it's been a challenge to also find those dining experiences that are either at the park that we're going to be at that day or at a resort. You cannot make a dining reservation at a park that you don't have a theme park reservation at. So if you have a theme park reservation that day for Magic Kingdom, but you want to go eat at Epcot, that's not going to work. So you're going to have to kind of alter that stuff. So that's been a challenge as well in planning this trip, is to make sure that everything is coordinated with our theme park reservation, our dining reservations. And another thing too is because of the limited park hours, we want to make sure that our dining reservations are allowing us maximum time in the park. Typically, we would not stay at a park all day. So typically, we would maybe start the day at Hollywood Studios, get our fast passes out of the way, go on Rise of the Resistance if we were able to get in the virtual queue, and then we'd take the Skyliner over to Epcot, walk around there for a little while, hop on a couple rides, go to the DVC lounge, and then maybe take the monorail over to Magic Kingdom or go back to our resort and freshen up for a little bit, do some pool time, and then go back to another park that night. Obviously, that's not the case this time, and so that has really altered the way that we're planning for this trip. Make sure that you're maximizing those parks that you are able to visit with your theme park reservation. Another different thing for us this trip is that we're probably going to be spending a lot of time at Disney Springs. We really don't spend that much time at Disney Springs. In fact, unless we're staying at Port Orleans where we can just hop on a boat and go over there, or at Saratoga where we can just walk over there, we really don't spend that much time at Disney Springs. But because the parks are closing early and there's no fireworks, there's no things of that nature, and there's no nighttime park hours, we'll probably be spending a lot of time over at Disney Springs. Or like I mentioned earlier, we might even venture off property, which is pretty unique for us because we never do that. We talked about dining reservations a little bit, but I want to go into a little bit more detail. It has been pretty difficult to find dining reservations at the times that we want. Something really important is if you are wanting a dining reservation at, say, Be Our Guest for dinner, be sure to check out what times those places are closing, because many of the dining establishments inside the parks are staying open past park close. So you might be able to maximize your time at the parks as well as get that dining reservation that you're really wanting to get and make it after the park hours or kind of close to park close so that you can maximize that time. If you aren't familiar with the My Disney Experience app, this is a really great time for you to become familiar with it, because there are a lot of things that you're going to want to do on there. A lot of the menus for the restaurants are going to be on there. Your theme park reservations are going to be accessed on there. Any questions you may have about guidelines or policies are going to be available on there as well. And it's a really great way for you to stay informed as to where you're going, what you need to be doing, what the wait times are, and things like that. So there is a lot to be said about the My Disney Experience app right now, and we really recommend you become familiar with it before your trip. We are really excited about lower crowds and lower wait times for the rides. Even though there's no fast pass, we're really excited to kind of have the park to ourselves. Obviously, we're not going to be the only ones there, but we're pretty excited because we haven't experienced low crowds in quite some time, and so we think this is going to be a really great, unique experience. Now, one thing we do want to say is if this is your once-in-a-lifetime trip, we do recommend possibly holding off until things get back to a little bit more normalcy and you are able to experience fireworks and parades, things like that. But if you are someone who likes to go and this is just a trip that you really need some Disney magic in your life, absolutely this is a great time to go. There's some really great deals available online, so be sure to check out the Disney website for that. So even though we're doing a separate packing vlog, I do want to talk about a couple of the things that we are taking on this trip that might be a little bit different from normal. Now, some of these things we do take, but we are taking extra of, and then some of these things are brand new. But also stay tuned to our packing vlog for more specific things and also to see all the fun stuff we're packing. So one thing that we always take with us, but we are taking extra of this trip, is hand sanitizer. So these are hand sanitizer from Grove Collaborative. If you're not familiar with Grove, we highly recommend you check it out. This is the best hand sanitizer ever. We have this in big bottles, we have this in small bottles. This is gel and this is a spray. We're taking 2 of each, so we will keep at least 1 of each in our park bag at all times. In addition to those hand sanitizers, we will also take these, which we got on Amazon, and this just hooks to hooks to the park bag. So if like we get off a ride and we don't have time to stop or whatever, we just need something quick, we can always just quick squirt this without digging through the bag. Another thing that we are taking is sanitizing wipe. So I got these at the grocery store. I got 4 of them, but I think we're only going to take 2 of them, and then we'll take 2 in our December trip. And we'll keep one of these in the park bag and one of them in the room. And this is just so like if we're eating somewhere or whatever, we can quick wipe down a table or just anything that we feel needs a little extra wipe down, we can give that. Another thing, of course, is our mask. You have to wear masks at all times on Disney property, except when at the pool or eating. We will definitely be doing that, and we're taking extra masks. So something that you might want to consider is maybe, these are from So Cargo on Instagram, so definitely check her out. But in addition to our cute masks that we're taking, we're also going to be taking a box of disposable masks. So if it rains or something happens to one of the masks, we can pop on another one and it's really not a big deal. And that way we have multiple in case we need them. The last thing is a really funny thing, but I am not going to be wearing face makeup this trip. 1, it's really hot and humid in Florida, and I don't like to go all out with my makeup anyways. But 2, I'm going to be wearing a mask all day. So the only thing I'm taking with me in terms of makeup is my eye makeup. So I'll be taking a few different palettes with me. And if we're just going to dinner, I'll do like regular makeup, but I'm just not going to go all out. There's no reason. Nobody can see your face. The only thing they can see is your eyes. So that's the only thing I'm going to do. And that will really help me tone down my makeup bag. So that'll really help as well, especially with the giant skirts we're taking. Check out the packing vlog for more on that. So those are some things that really stood out to us about planning this trip to Disney. I know that a lot of you guys have already been back to the parks, and we would love to hear from you. Let us know if we missed anything that you think we need to share with our audience and our viewers about if they're planning their trip to Disney World, and also anything that you think we need to know before we go. In addition, if you have any questions that we didn't cover today, please leave them in the comments below and we will be sure to find an answer for you. If you're new around here, be sure to click that subscribe button, click that bell notification so that you can be notified every time we release a video, and that like button if you like what we're doing. Thank you guys so much for stopping by, and for the love of the mouse, never forget that it all started with a mouse. We only need the two.